Hey everybody, how are you doing? This is Doug with 2 Plus Stuff. And, as I said before, I said definitely to my patrons, this week is going to be kind of a loosey-goosey one as far as a lot of live streams, not so much pre-recorded content. The reason for that is I have been fighting tooth and nail to get my hands on a Skaven and Flesh Eater Quartz Battle Tome, which I finally did. And so I'm working on those bits of content right now. And I'm very excited for what's going to happen. But those things take an immense amount of time. And so while I'm doing the notes for that, next week will be Skaven week. After that, we'll do some more Flesh Eater Quartz stuff just to kind of bring them up to date. But once all of that is done, we'll be back on track. And so I will actually be releasing a more set schedule for live streams and things like that. So look forward to that. So as far as tonight, though, I have a ton of stuff to build. And I need to get it out of my way. And so what I have is, what do I have? Grunstock Thunders, Arcanaut Company, and ships and junk like that from these two big deals that I got with Kharadron Overlords. A lot of stuff to build. Some of it, we're going to start with the stuff that's like half assembled so you can see the condition in which I got it. And then when it's all done, you'll all see how beautiful it all is. But yeah, so it's going to be, like I said, very loosey-goosey show. Hop in the chat. I see the chat's working. Hello, everybody who's piling in. And what we're going to do is I'm going to talk about news and announcements, articles that came out relating to AOS stuff, do a little bit of hobby in the meantime, and then answer questions in the chat, hang out. I have a whole bunch of emails from the Ask Me Anything thing. If you look down below, there's a link that says Ask Me a Question. If you have a question, ask it in the chat now, and I'll answer it. If you have one after the fact, you can go to that link. Sometimes people do both, and it gets confusing, so I'll answer stuff twice. So, yeah, let's go ahead and point... there we go, down. I found some cool quick key setups for my camera rig. So, let's see here, get this out of the way. Give me just a minute. I kind of just wanted to get home from work and plop in front of the camera and get to recording stuff. So let's see. What I need is a couple Grunstock Thunderers. Got that here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and man in a unit. And I have a whole bunch of Arcanaut. Kenzie says the Skaven book is sold out everywhere. It is, I think it's one of those things, kind of like how Iron Jaws was another like really important book for this game, where like it made people who necessarily weren't interested in AOS stop and look at it for a good hard minute. And so yeah, the Carrion Empire thing you're talking about specifically, yeah, absolutely. It's a hard deal to pass up if you're interested in anything that's in there, like anything. We were gonna get one, and I was actually gonna have some Skaven models, but I'm not sure that's gonna be a possibility. Oh, I didn't even realize there was 10 Arcanaut that were already painted. Okay, well, we're going to pull them out and judge them harshly and see how much work they need. Lenora says she snagged a copy. Nice. One thing I will ask, since folks are piling in the chat here, it would mean the absolute world to me if some of you would follow the link down below over to Twitch and watch over there. The reason is I'm trying to build up my account so I can kind of have control over ads and things like that and turn them down low and have a little bit of, I don't know, a following over there. It would mean the absolute world to me if you would head over to Twitch. The link is down below. There's no subscription, nothing like that yet. So like, just ignore it. It won't cost you anything more than like 20 seconds. It would mean everything to me. Looking at these guys, the last owner didn't do too bad a job on these. I have a ship that's looking a little rough, but honestly, if I go back over with my metallics, and certainly they require a lot of repainting, that's for sure, for my color scheme. But for the most part, he's got the gloves and the faceplate right, so that's cool. Kind of pumped about that. So that would be nice to have some dudes who are a little less maintenance than my other stuff. But let's get started on Arcanaut and Thunderers. Okay. Now, for Thunderers, I'm not actually sure what the best loadout is. Let's start with Arcanaut. Got a follower on Twitch. Thank you so much. I have not seen any of the Carrion Empire boxes locally Or honestly, like, yeah, even the battle tomes are really been hard to get through. Sorry, not through. They're just like popular armies. Moved over for Twitch. Thank you so much. Was it Biological Hippo? I love it. The font on my chat thing makes it a little hard to read. It's almost said blobological. Gage. A friend and I are building our first army. He's doing a Khorne, so I told him to wait and get the new battle tome. Any idea when it's supposed to drop? No idea whatsoever. I was actually having a discussion about the Khorne battle tome with some friends. I think it was the guys that were running ones where I wouldn't be surprised if I don't know, because like at the same one point I think, oh, AOS got a whole bunch of stuff, so maybe they'll swap over to 40k for a bit, which is totally fair. They deserve it. You know, we got a lot of battle tomes coming out. And then I thought to myself, well, wait a minute, because like the release that they previewed for Khorne stuff is way more fleshed out. Like the preview they showed us seemed more ready to go, quote unquote, than the 40k stuff they've been previewing. It seems like this big box that's not. They're still previewing like pictures of the stuff, like in the weekly thing. So I don't know. Let's see. Okay, we're gonna bust out these backpack things. We need 10 of them. Okay. Set that right there. I don't usually record and build because, unfortunately, it requires a little more focus than my painting does. But we're going to try it. Unrelated note, Gloomspite Stabas are still sold out. That is related because just as important as Carrion Empires is for Skaven and Flesh Eater Court players, it's pretty important to have clan rats in a Skaven army. Or... what was I going to say? Stabas in a Gloomspite army. That's what I meant to say. They're kind of a foundational thing. I had Carrion Empires on my brain. Yeah, dude. I don't know. Every time a new book comes out, I have these moments of weakness where I'm like, man, it wouldn't be too hard to start a Skaven army. I would like that, you know? But let's see here. I was trying to think. I might... When these are all cut out, head over to Warhammer community page. We can chat. Honestly, it's been a slow week for AOS, which is why I wouldn't be surprised if they slowed us down and picked up the news on 40k and stuff like that. But we can take a look. Bum-ba-dum. Here we go. So they have one article for AOS that came out since I did the coverage on, what was it? The 2 starter boxes. Yeah, I did that one already. This has nothing to do with us. They're coming up with a big Black Library Weekender with this weekend. Hopefully we see some cool stuff on the horizon. But there's this thing that says Black Library Collection, Celebration, Warhammer Age of Sigmar. And the first half of the article, I was really confused because they're actually talking about Horus Heresy, which has nothing to do with the title. And then down below, they're like, oh, BTW, you can get the Realm Gate Wars series as 1 book. Or 2 books. I was like, oh, okay. And they just kind of point in this direction. So... yeah, I'm a little disappointed in this article. I haven't read the Gods and Mortals collection. I probably read some of them. It's the collection, so. But that is really it for the news, which is a super bummer. Not much going on there. Okay. What we're going to do is crack into some emails. So, grab my knife and we'll be cleaning these up whilst I'm reading. Tom Wallace said, would you ever consider running games where the fans vote for your current armies and models you bring to the field and game types? So you put a list of armies and game modes, the fans vote, then they vote on points and units and choices, or would you consider votes on narrative campaigns like other heroes? So basically, fans deciding the way games happen. I am not strictly opposed to it. However, that is an immense amount of work just in getting people to say their opinion, and many people will be disappointed. Or I could just do what I have a vision for and try to get excited about that. Probably not. You know, part of it also too is you have to remember, like, let's say I put a story out there that is like, I don't know, I'm just making something up right now. So Beastmen are trying to take over a free people's city, right? And that's the main story arc that people voted on. If that doesn't go the way people like, they just tune out. And it's like, well, or I could just work really hard at making a story that I developed and that kind of thing. I don't know. Probably not. Voting, when you get into voting, it requires a whole lot of stuff. So let's see. Hotstone had to reset a password we got through. Thank you for the hard work heading over to Twitch. Let's see here. Next question. John Hanna. Stormcast Battletome has an image of the Stormblood Guard. Awesome silver armor and red scheme. There's not a color guide. How would you suggest painting a sequitur in that? I have not seen that one. What's it called? Stormblood Guard. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, here it is. It's like a weird 135 pixel image, so it's not even worth showing. For that, what I would do is lead belcher with a wash of your choosing. Do a dry brush of Runefang steel. Give it a little pop. And then for the red, Mephiston red, I think. It's a very deep red. Maybe even Khorne red with some built up to be a little more hot roddy. But yeah, that's an obscure chapter or storm host I've never heard of. Cool stuff. I haven't actually when I do these Battletome reviews, I don't have time to go through every single I don't know, paint scheme, that kind of stuff. I do read the painting tutorials because I love those kinds of things. Like the Skaven book one is incredible with teaching you how to do banner markings and things like that. So yeah. Lenore says, there you go, Doug. Tell me what I'm going for. What you mean by that? Then the next question is no name, so anonymous, asked me my opinion on Chosen. Chosen from Slaves to Darkness. The only thing that's unique about Chosen is that they have Rend on a stick. Their bonuses are not super great. Yeah, I don't know. They're the same in an army that already does a whole lot of samey things. Don't kill yourself to get them. Wait to see if the models are still around after a new book comes out. But yeah, I don't have a high opinion of them, honestly. I proxied them and played them, and they just never stood out to make me want to actually buy them. So pretty honestly low opinion. But I think Slaves of Darkness needs a lot of work in different ways. And I think it was the same person asking a different variation of that same question after that. Okay, next question. Ribcage King asks, your coverage of the Flesh Eater Corps got me inspired. This is like 2 weeks old. 4 start collecting boxes in, and I love the army. You mentioned in your videos there was a lot of room for creating your own courts. What would yours be? What would my Flesh Eater Court be? I like the idea of having a mobile army, like reasons that they would travel, and just to give them choices on why they would be in specific places fighting different armies, stuff like that. Narrative reasons to travel. What I think I would do is, in their madness, they think they're being chased by something, and so they're always on the move, always trying as hard as they can to get to the next quote-unquote safe place and things like that. I'm not sure what the threat would be in their vision. I'm still panning that one out in my head. But, yeah, just to focus on making sure there's a reason to be everywhere. For sure. Also, I would really focus on crypt horrors. I like crypt horrors a whole stinking lot. Yeah. That's one of the things I was going to focus on, when Jack and I were initially discussing, he wanted the KO and I was going to get his Flesh Eater Courts. I was like, yeah, I mean, I just want all of the crypt horrors, the big guys. Because unfortunately I realized, one of the reasons I really honestly stopped playing Beasts of Chaos is because I'm really genuinely tired of moving that many models. It's a horde army. And that's why I've been so excited to get these guys, because it's like, there's, what, 100, 200... There's like 340 points on this table right now. And then versus like that same amount in Ungor or whatever is just bonkers. So lower model count armies are kind of my jam lately. So yeah, Crypt Horrors, Crypt Flayers, that kind of stuff. I love it. Ostone says, congrats on 200 plus followers on Twitch. Thank you so much. Everyone has been incredibly kind. And then people hopping over there really does help the channel. I think actually, so not this stream, but the next one I do. If I have an average of 3 viewers on that one, I move to the next level. And that's where things unlock for me, that I can start using that platform a little more effectively and that kind of stuff. So very excited about that. It's pretty cool. I feel like an old man because I just like don't explore this stuff. I got YouTube set up and I really enjoyed it. And some people have asked me to do Twitch before, and I was like, I don't know, man. So, but then I got it all set up, and I'm like, wow, this is neat. I see why the youths like it. So let's see here. Oh, Stone says I love being 30. I'm 29. That's funny. Let's see. I'm just gonna look at some questions over here in the chat. Oh, Lenore, I meant follow me on Twitch. Yes. Thank you so much. I heard whispers of 40k players leaving because of toxicity. That's honestly, yeah, that's why I don't play it very much. I can't find, with the exception of specific people locally, I can't find games that I enjoy on the whole. Unfortunately. See, Phil Kelly talked a lot about Malign Portents and its success, short story specifically, in the January White Dwarf. So they were working on that some 40k. Yeah, I think 40k is a cool setting. I just don't care for the game and some aspects of the community built around it. But I think as far as like, I love the dark gothic, or it's like this like super dystopian future where it's in the future, but somehow it's also more archaic than we have right now. I love that stuff. Eat it up. Let's see here. Biological Hippo. Yeah, the player base is just more established. I struggle with the 40k wounds rules. Rex immersion for me. Biological Hippo. Can you explain what you mean by the wounds rules in 40k? I'm kind of curious about that. Thinking about converting some 40k Fenris wolves into dire wolves from my Legions of Nagash. What advice would you give for doing that? None. They fit in flawlessly. I think if you go to rerolling ones, I believe, don't quote me, but I believe that's the models that Mark uses because they look more wolfy than dire wolves. Yeah, no, they look stellar. I remember like when the first time I think you had them on the channel, I was like, Balto's coming in hot. They just look super wolfy coming right at you. I don't know. They look great. They're very dynamic. I would say just make sure, try to get the base size right. And then, for the most part, I don't think it truly matters, but yeah. And I'm told that there's a weapon on these dudes called the Sky Pike or something that is too legit to quit. Skyhooks, maybe that's it. Yes, that has to be it. Skyhooks. Which one is the Skyhook? Usually there's like a picture thing. Oh yeah, there it is. All right, I think that's it. Yes, I don't want them in combat. We'll go for one guy with a Skyhook, which is 70 and 69, 60, and 70. Okay. Are they going to expand the Fire Slayer's range? I have no prior knowledge of anything, but I hope so. Biological Hippo. It's just that a massive gun does 10,000 damage on a single wound. Kills one guardsman. That's a fair point. There's no overflow. Well, that's not true. Mortal wounds do overflow. in 40k, but your basic attack does not. That is an interesting point that is absolutely true. You know, as much as I don't miss templates for the amount of time they took, there's something about templates that were really fun. It just feels cool to put one down. Now, obviously, for a tournament style game, it was uber time consuming and miserable. And you could just clock your opponent out that way, like literally time them out of the tournament. But I kind of miss it. I'm not gonna lie. Every time I see a dragon, I remember the days in Fantasy Battles where I had my fire wizard dragon, and I would just like belch out a huge flame template out there. Oh, it's good times. It's good times to be alive. Oh, let's see. Cal Crusader TV says his 40k scene is fine. Sweet. I'm glad. I'm always happy that there are happy game groups. And, you know, and honestly, my local 40k scene is also fine. They're full of really cool people. But their perception of fun, or how they receive fun, is through high-level competitive play. We actually have some of the top guys who go to LVO here, like one of the top orc players and that kind of stuff. And that they are cool people. Right? There's not a lot of drama locally. It's just, I don't have fun the way they have fun, which is, again, super cool. But to get the kind of games that I want, you know, to invest more time and energy into an army, it's not always there for me. Let's see here. Question, what is the best loadout for engine riggers? Well, as someone who has literally never actually played a game with Kharadron Overlords, let me tell you my expert opinion. I don't know. Honestly, what I'm taking for them is just their base, whatever they come with. I'm not doing any of the weapon upgrades, which I'm told is the best. But I want to make it abundantly clear that I have no idea what I'm talking about. I had a gentleman message me this morning about like, hey, no, I'm going to an event. Here's my Khorne list. What do you think I should do? Do you think I should have this max size unit of bloodletters or scale it down, whatever? Asking me details like that. I'm like, dude, I don't know. I just talk about this stuff. I don't know how it works. Let's see here. Yep, that looks right. E-Ren says Ethermatic Saws and Rivet Guns. Yeah, that's the base loadout, and that's what was also suggested to me. Let's see here. I'm looking to see if anyone has a specific spot. Nope. Okay. Engine riggers are bigger, but Sky Wardens look cooler. Yeah, dude. I do hope at some point that the KO get an update in the book and make Sky Wardens. They need a nudge. I mean, like I said, never played it. I'm just looking at the war scrolls going like, kind of seems like one is just generally better. But yeah. Let's see here. Just catching up on the chat here. What do you think the chances of building out the more generic order factions like Duardin, Elves, and Free Guild? What do I think the odds of them are? I think Free people will definitely get an update, the humans. As far as the other ones, I have no idea what direction they're going to go. They could go anywhere. I mean, they could come out with a book that's just called, like, I don't know, Grimnir's Wrath, and it's just like a new Fire Slayers thing, but they also have Dispossessed in there, you know, just kind of like how they did the Gloomspite Gits, and they recombined some stuff, and how Pestilence is now back in Skaven, which is awesome. Yeah, they could do a million things. I have no idea. Jack had suggested doing like a Grugny themed book, so that what are they called? Kharadron Overlords and Dispossessed be back together. Sort of the more technological focused, more metallurgy type stuff, whereas Fire Slayers and something else could be more the Grimnir side of things, more warrior focused, that kind of. Which I gotta be honest, I like that idea. It's a cool one. Let's see here. If you build both, you can double up the Sky Warden's mines, which looks cool. That's cool. About to Hippo. I just started a new army. Would have considered KO if the Stormcast kit was better. Would have considered KO if the Stormcast kit was better. Okay. Right on, right on. Let's see here. That merge between KO and Dispossessed would be amazing. Yeah, Marcus says that he misses his basic dwarves. And honestly, like, building these guys out, you know, like lacking a good solid melee presence on the table, I've been looking a lot at the, what do you call them, the Dispossessed line, trying to find something that... My big thing is that I don't want to buy anything that goes away. So the basic warriors I probably won't buy. Not because I honestly think they're going to go away, but I just don't. I don't know anything. So why risk that? So I don't know. But I would absolutely love more Dispossessed love for sure. Okay, put that glue down. We're going to crank out a whole bunch of weapon loadouts here all at once. The only downside to the stuff that's pre-built is he kind of went for like all the weapon options. Well, this one has the Gatling gun, which... oh, here's a skyhook. Okay, that's cool. I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of all the different weapon profiles. Ironbreakers are good-looking models. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. Okay, well, we need a hero guy. I love the fact that the heroes in the Kharadron Overlord Arcanaut units have a pistol with 3 barrels. It just sounds so ridiculous that I love it. Megashu6, hello to you as well. I'm just cranking out some Kharadron Overlords. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. I would love for them to do more work on the Duardin factions in general. And it's hard to be like, yo, I thought these old things before I got the book, you know, before I started playing a Duardin faction or whatever. But it's true. Like, even just playing Fyreslayers, I'm like, there's just so much more we could do. Let's see here. I want the much hoped for Free Cities book, but I want a new human army. Hoping for Greywater humans deserve it. Oh, the dwarves, they already have 2 new armies. That is a fantastic point. The Duardin already do have a few armies. I think the biggest thing with the Duardin armies is that they've both moved away from what the classic idea that had so many fans of is. You know, like what they're moving further and further away from the classic dwarf, which I think people love and they resonate with. And so I think that's kind of why I think folks really pull for that, and that's definitely for me. Let's see. Biological Hippo. The scuttlebutt is that there is going to be a General Elves book. So there being a General Duardin box is not a crazy idea. Huh. That's kind of a cool idea. I do that. That would be a huge book for the Elves, though. I don't know how that would work. If you remember, like, I had this theory that all of the reshuffling they did on their website, even though they said it's just for shopping convenience, has nothing to do with armies, since they've done that, all the armies that have come out have been from their restructured whatever. So I still maintain that that's my theory. The only problem I had with that theory was that the elf section is massive. All the stuff from high elves, dark elves, wood elves in one big old section. I don't know. It was just a lot, and so that was kind of the hiccup in my theory. But the idea of combining them like as is, man, that sounds daunting as a rule designer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I just need 8. Okay. Counting is harder than you might think. All right. Let's see here. Moon Rover, hey there. Just bought some of your magnets. Hey, thank you so much. That goes a long way to helping the channel. I really do appreciate it. You are also building KO Moon Rover. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm excited. We're actually doing this coming weekend Triumph and Treachery over on Rerolling Ones. And it's 500 points. And of course, I have 500 points built and painted. So I'm just going to base some probably when I'm done building these guys. And then you'll see them for the first time ever as I get all the rules wrong. So I think I'm taking a chemist, 5 of the Thunderers, the big heavy weapon guys, and then either 2 units of 10 Arcanaut or a unit of 10 Arcanaut and 1 unit of Endrin Riggers. So I'm not sure how that is going to pan out. I haven't decided what I want to do yet. I have all those things painted to do whatever I want. Just haven't... I think having more bodies is definitely an advantage in that format. So, let's see here. E. Ren, would you do a review of the book Overlords of the Iron Dragon, since it fits with the new army aesthetic? Yeah, it's on my to-read list. I think I'm going to start buying more audiobooks. I don't like audio dramas, but I don't mind audiobooks. So I might have to start doing that just because I can't keep up. My personal life is just too busy lately. Between doing videos and that kind of stuff, you know. I need something I can listen to. Let's see. Aesthetically, I think Duardin are brilliant. KO, for example, have been known to have submarines, to my knowledge. At least some factions of them do, which would be cool. Swash Buccaneer, hello. Lenore, the short story for Carrion Empire is interesting. Lots of background about an empire in Chaman that flourished during the Age of Myth and Sigmar visited personally. That's super cool. I dig it. We're still waiting to see how they do Tyrion, Teclis, and Malekith in the lore. Yeah, that's a huge thing. And honestly, what they do with Tyrion, if they do Tyrion right, I will jump into whatever faction it is, because he was my jam in fantasy battles. I'm sorry, I meant Teclis. Teclis, the magic one. I get them confused because they're twin or brothers, whatever. Teclis, the magic wielder, and they kind of already did him because he was the progenitor of Deepkin. But I want to see what they do with him. So, yeah, we'll see about that. Let's see here. Without spoilers, in the short book Heart of Winter, let's just say Dark Elves are still Dark Elves. I did finish reading that one, and that one was that was awesome. I loved that they kept it as a super Dark Elf. Moving over, are you going to be at Adepticon? I will not. We're traveling back to Iowa to see family right when Adepticon is going on, which is a real bummer because, well, can't tell you why, but yeah, it was a super fun thing. Wish I could go. Let's see here. Democles, hello. Let's see. Hello from New Zealand. Woo. I have no... What time would it be in New Zealand? It'd be like super early or late, right? Hey, Doug, love the content. Painting some KO. Oh, just kind of jumped right here. Engine riggers right now. Barak Thring. That is awesome. I'm going for Mornar, the dark and seedy underbelly of the skies, which, you know, they use the term underbelly of the skies, and I just think to myself, the underbellies of the skies is land. Don't overcomplicate this. It's already complicated. It's already Sky Doors. Okay. 3:45 p.m. in New Zealand. Oh, that's not so bad. Okay. Those cities are the exact opposite. They are the skyports for sure. Let's see here. Yeah, I do plan on... Actually, what I truly plan to do is save up money and maybe do like a... I don't know, a fundraising live stream a thon, you know, like a massive one, basically because I really super want to go to Nova, so that would be super cool. Nova, I want to do their big narrative event. The scheduling, it works out for me. Yeah, I'm very excited about that prospect. But you know, it's one of those things that, like, my biggest problem when it comes to traveling to events, honestly, is just thinking about how I'm going to get my army there. Because I can make all kinds of solutions to transport stuff locally, but I don't know what I'm going to do to get it across the country. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. But yeah, I want to do the Nova narrative event thing. Do you see a use for Sky Wardens? Here, let's have some fun. Let's go check out Games Workshop. Okay. We're going to look at the Sky Wardens thing together because it's been talked about a few times in the chat. Kharadron Overlords. And I am just curious because it's not a war scroll that I find myself looking at. So forgive me. Forgive this interruption. We're just going to chat and see here. Try to get it blown up as much as possible. Okay. So, unit of Sky Warden is 3 more models. Sky Warden armed with Vulcanizer pistols and Sky Pikes. Vulcanizer pistols, 9 inches. That's not great. 1 attack, also not great. 3 up, -1, damage 1. That's a cool profile. Let's see. And Sky Pikes, 2 attacks, 4 up, 3 up. Okay. That's okay. Here's the problem I see initially is the Sky Pike melee weapon. That is almost the same profile. The damage is better, but it's almost the same profile as far as hitting and wounding and rend as Bestigor. And I already really struggle with Bestigor, to be perfectly honest with you. Oh, Stone does point out that they can, with the 2-inch range, stab people from behind engine riggers, which is important. A gentleman reached out to me regarding the army and said that the fundamental strategy you have to learn with KO is how to screen. And I think this definitely lends itself to that. Of all those dudes, each one of them can take a super weapon, basically. You have the volley gun, 6 attacks, 4 up, -1. It's okay. An average of, what, like 2 of them get in there? 1.52, something like that. Sky Hook, 1 attack, 4 up, 3 up. I just don't see enough attacks, like straight up, for 3 dudes to cost as much as engine riggers, which can just like, they have like little Uzis on them, just like the Revit guns are just like, brrrah, just a whole bunch of attacks. I just don't see it. What I kind of wish when I look at this profile is that like they had leaned super heavy into the melee, right? Get rid of all these crap things. Maybe give them a pistol. The pistol's fine. Get rid of these things and then give them like a Sky Pike that has a ton of attacks, right? Make them like the same equivalent as the engine riggers are to range stuff. Like, you know, lots of attacks go through, but there's the melee variant for sure. Also, the engine riggers just have a better melee attack. Let's go check out that one for quick reference. Engine riggers. Boom. Because even, what? Yeah, these guys even do melee better. Look at Ethermatic Saw. 1 attack, 3 up, 2 up, which is better than 4 up, 3 up. -2, better than -1. Damage D3, which is the same amount of damage, but I feel like more of these are going to go through per hit, even though there's only 1 attack each. Keep in mind, both of these things can be buffed by the Chemist, giving them +1 attack to one of these profiles. I don't know. They just seem so much better. I don't know. And I don't know. I'm not a scroll genius. I'm not one of those guys who can look at these things and just get it. I just, like, off the top of my head, I see more utility in the engine riggers than I do with the Sky Wardens. They do also have, let's see, Sky Hook. If an enemy suffers an unsaved wound from a Sky Hook, those units are harpooned, which is just phenomenal to say. I would take them just to harpoon somebody. The Sky Wardens can immediately move D6 as long as move takes them closer to the harpooned unit. Do these guys get it too? Oh, they do. Okay, so they're not special. Sky Mines. These guys do not have Sky Mines. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, Sky Hook's the weapon. Okay, that makes sense. Sky Mines. When an enemy unit that can fly ends its charge within 1 inch of any Sky Warden, roll a dice. On a roll of a 6, that unit suffers a mortal wound. Super unreliable. Also, I don't want them getting charged. Interesting. Sky Wardens are practiced at striking hard and then retreating. When a unit of Sky Wardens retreats before moving the unit, Roll a dice for each enemy within 3 inches. On a roll of a 6, suffers a mortal wound. So you have 2 chances to roll 6s to hurt the enemy with mortal wounds, and it's just 1 mortal wound each. I just don't care for it. If their shtick was, we're not so great in melee, like these profiles don't matter so much, but we lay mines and things like that, you know, tricksy stuff that's all in the abilities, but not necessarily a profile. You know, if that was like a 4-up does D3, okay, they'd be my front line falling back and doing melee as they can. But they just they don't get me. I don't get it. See, we got some chat going on here. I'm just gonna hop back to hobbying as I build these guys. Let's see here. I like the idea of wardens, but they seem worse. Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna build some. Like I built all the stuff I have as engine riggers because when I got these, like 3 of them were already built as engine riggers, and I was like, well, no matter of which the kinds I want, they seem to be better in groups of like 6 to 9. So since I already have some engine riggers, I'll go ahead and fill that up. But in the future, I do plan to buy Sky Wardens because I think they look great. They look super aggressive and impressive, and so I was like, you know, I want that. It just, as far as like looking at that profile, just one just seems more legit. Kenji says Sky Pike, more like Sky Poke. That is exactly what the problem is that it is a Sky Poke. It's a, you know, you have flying ships and guns everywhere, and you start a boop war. You know, boop, poke someone in the nose instead of, like, you know, doing anything meaningful. Let's see here. Oh, Stone, I think Sky Wardens also received a 20-point increase last year. That's rough. That's real rough. But that's the kind of stuff, looking at that profile, actually looking at both profiles, that's kind of the issue, is I think, you know, people say like KO are just flat bad. No, they do really well in some tournaments and in some list designs and things like that, but I think fundamentally the book needs a rebuild from the ground up. You know, like there shouldn't, I don't like the fact that one war scroll for the same kit of a multi-kit is dramatically better than the other one. Like, that's bad internal balance. And it's just a bummer. It's just a bummer. Doug, how would you improve in Kharadron? How would I improve Kharadron Overlords? Well, for starters, this is a temporary thing, but if the what is it? The not Shadespire, Night Vault set, because I think it'll still be Night Vault when it comes out. If that came out and they were like, hey, here's the hero, the leader guy. He has a flare gun. Whoever he shoots with a flare gun, everything that shoots that target gets +1 to hit. Like, it sounds, you know, in an army full of shooting, you can look at that and be like, wow, that's super broken. Thing is, though, all their guns hit on 4s. So I don't think it really is. There's not a lot of modifiers for shooting. You know, I think fundamentally they made a shooting army that's bad at shooting, and so improving that, I think, is a good first step. Beyond that, I don't know. I think on some level, I don't want them to be too much like Tau from 40k, but that's also kind of the role that they've made them. Super aggressive, highly mobile, shooting base. Yeah. So that's my thought. Kharadron Microlay. It's exactly what it is, yeah. I said flare gun to make it more, you know, fantasy-y, low-tech. But it's basically what I want. To put it super simply. I just think that it would go a long way. That's the thing. When you get one cannon shot, and your one cannon shot misses because you hit on a 4, a 5, if they're, you know, if you're aiming at a hero that's like, you know, because of the Lookout Sir debuff to shooting, like, that's a bummer. You don't feel like you've accomplished anything. And honestly, at the end of the day, like, that's probably what I think is going to, at some point, break my interest in the army, is just, I don't like rolling a lot of dice and nothing happening. It is the most frustrating thing for me. But when everything hits on 4s, maybe 5s, assuming your enemy has no other debuffs, I mean, like, you would just never hit some Nurgle builds because they can spam Plague Bearers with, what do they call them, Lord of Blights, to give them like a super immunity to shooting or minus to be hit from ranged attacks. You just never touch anything. That sounds like the lamest game ever. Let's see here. Starting Mythic Mason says starting basic chaos soon. Solid choice, my friend. Can you give me your ideal must-haves for them? Thinking about starting with 2 Star Collecting boxes, maybe some Bulgors, and a Doom Bowl. Actually, that's a solid start. The Star Collecting box is phenomenal because you get 2 of the most important units. As far as the must-have ones, I don't really like saying auto-include because I don't like telling people how to spend their money. But Bestigor and Ungor are both incredibly solid choices. Bestigor are super aggressive and fast, and they have Rend on a stick. And then Ungor are so dirt cheap, you're going to want them. For sure. Yeah, you nailed it. As far as the Doom Bowl, stuff like that, just kind of be aware that they tend to die really easily. Just have your expectations properly set, but I like them. I've seen people do well with them. And just go have fun, man. Yeah, I think the first time that you run and charge and land a charge, turn 1 with your Bestigor, you're going to be like, oh, this is an amazing army. You're going to feel real good. I remember the first time I did that, like I took Cogs and it didn't go off. And I was like, oh man, I really wanted to get that turn 1. And then I just did it without Cogs. And I was like, oh, right, I guess I didn't need that. That was silly of me. Feels good. And even like armies that, Jack, his shooting Stormcast blew me off the table turn 2. I have no answer to that yet, but it has hard counters. But even he was like sweating in an objectives-based game when someone comes onto your table edge turn 1 and is just so aggressively in your face. So you made some good choices there. King Clamo, anything you want to know more about Kharadron lore? Anything else they should include lore-wise if they get if they get a new book, what do I want filled out more? Honestly, what I really want is more in-depth knowledge of how these skyports function, like how we understand the code, but not like how the guilds really work together, other than I send specialists with you on this boat to go look for gold, ether gold. I want what's daily life like there, that kind of stuff. I'm into that mundane. It's part of world building. Most of worlds are just boring, but that's the kind of stuff that makes it like full and real and that kind of stuff engaging. So that's what I would say to that. As far as other stuff, I don't really have anything. The thing that I would love that they'll never do because they have changed their business policies, I would love if they were like, hey, if you kit bash a frigate and an ironclad, you can make this other ship. Where like they used to do stuff like that, where like have models that you could build but not buy kind of thing. And I just think that would be so cool. Unfortunately, those days are over. They only have profiles for stuff they can actually sell. But I don't know. Build your own ships would be super cool. Let's see. Oh, let's see. Oops. These guys are coming together pretty stinking well, I must say. Yeah, I wouldn't mind it if, like, I don't know, it's tough. Like, on one hand, the idea of reintroducing Grimnir as their god is a cool one, right? Because it would definitely tie them and Dispossess together super well. On the flip side of that, them being godless in a story arc full of gods makes them incredibly unique. And I would hate for them to lose that. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, sorry about this boring part, just counting heads here. I want them to kick Nagash's ass and get Valia back. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, dude. Let's see. Just saw Attila Battle Angel earlier, and the Sky City reminded me of KO a lot. That's awesome. It's probably not one that I'll go see. I just don't go to the movies a lot anymore, but that's really cool. I'm glad it was good. And una más. We need a shoulder pad for a leader man. My friend who was playing Stormcast didn't know what was coming when I ambushed with 20 Bestigor plus 1 attacks by charging and reroll 1s versus orders. Love the mobility. Yeah, dude. Yeah, I have found the mobility is amazing. The staying power is somewhat lacking. So that's something, you can push really. You can be, I think the only other army that really matches them in terms of aggression is like a Demonette focused Slaanesh army. But even then, I mean, we can do what they do because they run in charge. I mean, that's kind of the fundamental rule that I'm talking about. But they have a 4-inch pile in and that kind of stuff. Oh, it's like so nasty. Moon Rover says good night. Good night, my friend. So we're going to do this. Cut the flash off these heads here. It's one of those things that if you're not ready for it, that kind of speed, you'll just lose on objectives. And that's typically how I win. With that army, and it was, yeah, I mean, it's just, if you're not playing the objectives game, and they have so many ways to, you can build one-drop armies with any one of those Chaos God battalions. Easily build a one-drop army, so then you can dictate who goes first, and you can always go first, flood your enemy, tie them up on either end of the board, and you just have like a Great Bray Shaman go and just poop on an objective for 3 turns and you win. That's all it takes. Most of my wins have been from doing just that, being very aggressive, and then I didn't have a whole lot of chaff because I was kind of limited by my collection, but having people on objectives, but then also because they're summoning thing, which is where I think I've done a 180 on my thoughts on that. I hated it when it came out, and then I've been playing with it. And I'm like, no, this is actually the best of the summoning mechanics. Has been instrumental in like bringing troops on board and then sitting on objectives. So let's see here. 40 Plague Monks with Warp Grinder has something to say about aggression. Yeah, dude. I mean, those are the best armies, truthfully. Like, aren't they the most fun? Just any one of the ones who gets in there and mingles. I love it. I say as I build a shooting army that wants to do anything literally but get in there and mingle, but they mingle in their own way, They mingle with guns. Let's see. Do you think we'll ever see a Slaanesh mortal army? Yes, I have zero doubts about that. I have no insider information, but we know Slaanesh isn't going away, and I don't see a world where that range does not get an update of some kind at some point. Also because in AOS, Slaanesh Mortals is kind of non-existent. There's a few unique units, but for the vast bulk of it, you're taking from Slaves to Darkness and giving them a Slaanesh mark. So, Democles, you ever been to that yearly Valhalla week-long gaming retreat? I have not. It's not, I don't know if it's on my hobby bucket list, so to speak, but it's cool. I like hearing about it. I just, I don't know. Part of it is I am somebody who, you might not think so because I have a YouTube channel, but I am actually very much an introvert. And so the reason that I can see myself going to conventions is because I know that when the convention day is done, I'm going to retreat to my wife in our hotel room and just be alone and decompress for a little bit, because I need that. Whereas if you're, you know, in the best way possible, trapped with everyone in a cabin for a week, I could see myself getting very, very burnt out. And I don't want that. You know, I'm just one of those people that, like, I take going out and meeting people very, very seriously in terms of, like, I want to give everyone the best experience. When I play a game, I want it to be a game that makes someone's day. I mean, that just is absolutely my goal. And so I can see not being able to live up to my own expectations of myself if I'm stuck for a week. So that's kind of my only thing. But I've always been like that. I was a kid who never did sleepovers well. I need to retreat. Let's see here. Luis Alberto Gomez. It's like orc armies. You want a Death Dread with 2 claws and 2 saws, but you have to give him Mega Blasters. Yeah. Yep. Got to get in there and mingle it up. Let's see here. Is defeating a Doom Bull an extreme version of cow tipping? Absolutely. It's on the War Scroll. You're required to tip it over. Mythic Mason, do you plan on doing more battle reports like the one you made not too long ago? I think it'd be cool if you continued the story and followed whoever the victor was going around the mortal realms. So, I do have plans to do more, to answer your first question. Second question, second part of that, no, I don't plan on following that same story. The thing where Valorous died and the Beast Herd won, because that whole thing was a sample. What I've been working very hard about what I want to do, and the decision I've come to is I want to do 3 to 4 episode blocks and do an anthology. So, for example, if we're going to take that same story, it would be a series of games that has to do with Valorous trying to get control of the Beasts of Chaos. 3 to 4 games with that, and then nobody dies until the last one, where Valorous, you know, either makes the final stand or total wins victory, that kind of stuff. So the one that I pitched to my patrons, and I got a lot of positivity about, seems to be, is the idea of a city in Shyish. I believe it was called Hero's End. It's not in front of me right now. I haven't looked at it in a while. But the idea being, like, why don't we recreate a siege on a city, right? Because then you have your battle out front as the defenders kind of scramble. Probably a skirmish battle for the Chaos guys trying to send in, or the enemy trying to send in, like, spies to open the gate. Then also a battle in the courtyard of the city, and then maybe a final stand at the castle or cathedral wall. You know what I mean? Like, where the invaders or the defenders are completely surrounded. So super narrative missions. Jack, you missed everything. So super narrative missions, but working as an anthology. So again, the first game was just a test, but I do plan on having forces fight each other. That's actually why I'm so aggressively building KO, because one of those anthologies I want to do is, like, these are the adventures of, you know, Captain Angrybeard. You know, it's just throwing that out there. And then we'll have a set of stories that have to do with him. Over the course of them, have development with him as a character. And, yeah. Does that make sense? Someone just tell me no. So that's my idea, is anthologies. They're 3 to 4 episodes long. I haven't worked out all the ones I want to do yet. Honestly, I'm kind of this weird painting thing where it's like I have some Beasts of Chaos painted to do stuff with, but I don't want them to be in every single one of these things. So I don't know. Let's see here. I just did a rough estimate, jammed my army into the army builder on the iPhone app. Since last summer, due largely to your lore videos, I've accumulated 14,000 points of Stormcast. Oh gosh, that's awesome. I really want to do a Stormcast Vanguard focused army at some point, especially with how much fun I'm having building these guys. And I could, you know, do the same super fast aggression stuff like that the Beasts of Chaos do. I could just do those with what are they called? The Vanguard Paladors, whatever they're called. Yeah. Let's see here. Eren, will you post this as a vid afterwards? Yes, when I'm done with the live show, it'll just be a recorded thing on YouTube. You can go check it out if you need to go. Okay, so I got the Arcanauts done. Tell you what, give me a brief pause. I'm going to get some models that are already painted. I need to throw some basing texture on them so that I can play them on rerolling ones. Sorry, buddy. I don't know what is in my throat today, but some coughing, a little dry cough. All right, so here's my painted dudes. Now, people on Twitch and also on YouTube, I need you to vote, okay? So pay attention. I need to decide if I'm going to take either what my list for 500 points will be, okay? So I've got a Chemist. I've got Grunstock Thunderers, who all have like the basic rifle, which is really great because if you buff one, you only buff one profile with the Chemist, so you can make their super attacks even better. Anyway, so I have that and a unit of 10 Arcanaut. Okay, so all of my requirements are met. The question is this: I have a remaining 120 points. All right, let me just double check my math here. I'm like 99% sure that's absolutely true. The problem is it takes forever to get these stinking apps to work. I'm on the Azir app. Anyway, my point is it's either going to be a unit of 3 engine riggers or an additional unit of 10 of the Arcanaut company. Oh, Jack's got a whole bunch of stuff for me. 20 hunters and 6 paladors. Sold. I don't know what for. I don't have a fully painted army for you yet, bro. Oh, 1 second. I found out if you open the Azir app while you're in airplane mode, it's like you can't verify that you've actually paid for the Azir stuff, so you can't build lists and junk. Try it again when you're back on the internet. But it should be. Yeah, it should be 120, so I could do 10 Arcanaut Company, or I can do, of course, come on. Here we go. Let me just see. And it is, yes, 380, so I have 120 points. Let's see here. Engine riggers. Engine riggers give you some punch. Okay. Seems pretty universal engine riggers. So let me go grab those guys. Okay. You guys ever watch The Simpsons? Got Homer singing the "Hey there, Blimpy boy, flying through the sky so fancy free." Okay, here we go. Give me just a minute. I'm just digging out my texture paint. I would vote riggers too, but my contrarian nature. I love it. Okay. Yeah, we're going to go with the engine riggers. If nothing else, honestly, it's a lot more model diversity. So, can you do a Thunderer-based KO army? Thunderer is like the elite shooting dudes over here. Not really, because there's no way to make them battle line. I mean, you can just have a lot of Thunderers. That's legit. What I'm using is a Sterling Battlemire. I like the nasty mud stuff. Yeah, just kind of slack it on there. I do the Sterling Battlemire and the mud are both awesome. Battlemire is a little nicer because it's a little bit thinner. It's probably a little bit better for mud effects. Kind of has more fluid to it, but they're both just awesome. But yeah, Thunder-based army. You know, the thing is that they're more expensive, and so you have less guns. And at this point in KO, it seems to be you just need more attacks, more bodies, more attacks. But the cool thing about Thunder is I love the being able to fall back instead of fight when they're activated and in combat. Like, that's kind of fun. Just kind of always seeking an advantage when it comes to shooting rather than melee. They're like, what are we doing? This isn't our thing. This is why I made friends with the Stormcast. Okay. He's done. Let me skip that. Off there. All right. Democracy has spoken. Gonna base up some engine riggers. I bet they'll be good. I can't remember what everyone else has taken for the Triumph and Treachery, but to be honest, like at 500 points as anything is not terribly scary. Made friends with Stormcast. But yeah. My favorite thing to do with this kind of texture paint, I mean, I don't think I have enough insight to really do a tutorial on it, but just kind of slather it on, and then if you just go back through and poke it a whole bunch, it adds a little bit of texture to it. That is my highly scientific method of applying Sterling Battlemire. Immediately forgot it. Okay. Let's see, I'm going to hop over and chat kind of died down. I assume we're all doing some very important hobby stuff. But I'm going to go answer some questions that came in email again. I wonder if Sigmar was aware he created even less friendly soul-powered constructs. That's funny. Okay. Oop. All right, next question. Greg, I recently saw a video and in the battle tome for Stormcast alternate color schemes. My question is this: if I paint an alternate scheme, do I have to do the rest of the unit/army? All the alternate paint schemes purely aesthetic. Yes, painting is just purely aesthetic. Do whatever you want. They actually, it was the KO book. That's what it was. They actually said like, hey, if you paint, well, I say they did it on purpose, but then they made a mistake. If you paint it from this, what is it, Skyport, you have to take the rule or something like that, and everyone got in a tizzy where it's like, don't tread on my hobby, and people kind of freaked out, and then they kind of walked back, and then they're basically is like, yeah, just do whatever you want, and that's kind of the standing order right now. Do what you think looks cool. If you think an army of like Hallowed Knights mixed with I don't know, Hammers of Sigmar and stuff, that looks cool, just do it. Personally, I like when things are uniform, but not everyone is like me. All right, let's get the next question here. Quite a few, actually. Nope, that's the same one. Repeated twice, not sure why. James, hi. I'm new to the hobby, and I'm considering starting a Khorne-based army, Brass Stampede focused with some chaff. I'm thinking of adding some Beasts of Chaos as support, so Brass with spoilers plus Ungor Raiders for allies for shooting. I'm hesitating because some Beasts of Chaos modders are older sculpts, and I don't know if it'd be worth just focusing on Khorne instead. Thematically, it feels awesome. Do you have any thoughts on this framework? Well, I do. If you don't like the Beast of Chaos sculpts, the Barasta spoilers and all the requirements you have to have for that don't offer you much if you don't love the models. You know, like, they don't offer you anything super unique. I think Blood Reavers tend to do the same things that or better that Gore do. They can have run 1, so a best of Gore can be... They lose their edge in terms of, like, this is a great choice, you know. I would say take it if you want to have Beast of Chaos in your army, but if you're looking for, like, you know, better... If you're looking to have Brass Stampede plus some chaff, I don't think that battalion is the best if all you're looking for is chaff. Yeah. Ren, are you going to use any boats in your army? Earlier you said 500 points, and I didn't hear any boats. Nope. No boats. Everything you see on the table right now. So we have 5 Thunderers, 10-man Arcanaut Company, 3 Engine Riggers, and a Chemist. That's all I can fit. There's... I guess technically I could fit... what do you call it? The Gun Hauler, but he doesn't do... He doesn't do much, period, but he's also... His kind of point of existing is, like... He can soak up some of the damage that goes on other bigger ships, and if I'm not taking them, his usefulness diminishes even further. So no boats. No time for boats. Need more guns. There's that. Okay. I wish there was a boat that you could take it. A reasonable boat that you could take at 500 points. That'd be cool. But I also don't have one built or painted, so... Let's see here. Ale Guzzler Gargant came in today. Got it, put it together, and undercoated. Sweet. That was quick. I like the Gargant model. I really do. His rule that when he charges, if he rolls doubles, he falls down, makes me so sad because he can never do the long bomb 12-inch charge, which is, you know, you obviously shouldn't be going for that anyway, but I do because it's fun. But yeah, I don't know. He's a model that I wish was just a little bit better because everyone can take him. Like, oh, that'd be so cool if everyone just had this cool, more utility. But yeah. Now for the endless spells. What endless spells are you building, Mogwai man? I'm curious. Answer a question over here. Let's see. Hello, Doug. I believe he's talking about the Forbidden Power preview. So it says, could the Ancient Evil be a new part of Soul Wars and an Ancient Evil that wakes up in Azir? Did Sigmar lock it up? And why did he do that, you think? Could it not be tamed? So it's kind of hard to understand with the language barrier, but I'm thinking he means like Sigmar locked something up and whatever it was is breaking out. That's a cool idea. No, I mean, none of us have any evidence for anything, but that'd be cool for sure. Let's see. Oh, you're building all the malign port and sorcery spells. I have not even... I finished building them all because I was tired of looking at the sprues, but I have not painted all mine. They're cool just when I want to do something a little bit different, but yeah. After my my talk with Joel regarding Beasts of Chaos, like I really wanted to give some endless spells like the predatory ones a try. And I'm just like playing my Beast of Chaos and just deciding to go second turn 2 no matter what happens. I think would be really, really cool. He does it with the bull, and the bull is incredible. It is devastating when it turned back on you. Maybe if I get used to the way the rhythm of the game goes, where I force myself to go second turn, at least turn 2, that would be huge. I don't know. I haven't seen anyone try the new Gloomspite Gits endless spells. The Skaven and Flesh Eater Court ones both seem incredible. We talked about those on the channel, but like, does anyone here first of all play Gloomspite Gits? Secondly, are you tempted at all to take any of the endless spells? I was going to try out the endless spells from the Malign Sorcery box. You know, that question was asking about the Forbidden Power, wherever that preview was. We have no context for, which is kind of a lame preview. But, you know, my current assumption is that it is going to be more endless spells for everyone and just more rules that everyone can take. Like magic and artifacts and that kind of stuff. Oh, Tony Parker says the spells are great. You've used a few. That's cool. That's cool to hear. I guess I just didn't, when, you know, the book came out, we got a chance to take a look at them. Well, I don't think they were previewed in the same way, with the same gusto as the Skaven and Flesh Eater Courts ones were. And maybe I just missed it. I just didn't feel like any of them were like as characterful. You know, like the Skaven one is crazy, or there's a few crazy ones in their faction, but then the Flesh Eater Courts one is just so faction specific, with like collecting dead bodies and feeding people, and then everyone gets better or heals up and adds models. Like, they're just so good at doing what the faction already does. I was curious if the Gloomspite ones are the same way. Let's see. Okay, there's the Thunderers. Done and did. Let me shake this up. Let's see. I'm going to go to the next question here. We're all just chilling and chatting. Andrew asks, hey Doug, I have 2 friends considering starting the hobby soon. I was wondering if you had tips for how to best support them. The hobby can definitely come across scary in terms of time and money, and I want to make sure they feel comfortable enough to try it. Love you and re-rolling ones, by the way. Your videos helped me a lot when I was still on the fence about starting AOS over the summer. Well, you were very welcome, Andrew. As far as great ways to start, proxying things is awesome without, you know, kind of financial investment. Sorry, I'm just trying to shake this texture paint. It gets stuck to the bottom really easily. What else would I recommend? Go to a game night with friends if you have anyone who has multiple armies, and like say, hey, can I borrow that? Just give it a test run. Those kinds of things. You know, have them watch battle reports, see if it looks fun. If they have fun, you know, watching those things, and they think they're interesting, it's not hard to learn. What I would say is just start small. Path of Glory would be great for you and your buds if you're all just looking for a good time to have a few models and slowly build up armies. That's a great way to do it. You can maybe try Skirmish. It's not for everyone. It's not my favorite thing, but for getting them used to like the basic rules mechanics of the game, it's pretty great. And hopefully at some point Warcry will come out and be what everyone expects it to be, and you can play really small games. I think it's funny that there's already a Warcry Facebook group, and I'm just like, you don't even know what's going on yet. But no, I think having your friends look at Star Collecting boxes and just picking an army that they think looks cool. You know, you talk about money and time and investment. Like, you know, even if one of them picks the KO box, which is one of the weaker end of the box in terms of like the strength of the forces that you get inside of it. Just encourage, like, you know, find out what they want. If they're about modeling and hobbying and they like that one, that is the one they need to have. You know, what other games do they play? Even if it's computer-based games, how do they play those, right? Are they fast and aggressive? Are they, you know, like range stuff? Do they like a lot of strategies. If they like a lot of synergies, Khorne is a great one. Just that kind of stuff. Ask questions. Point them in the right direction of a start collecting box. And, yeah, just have fun. I mean, honestly, just have fun. Make sure they make purchases that they don't regret in terms of, like, getting the models that they want for a faction they enjoy. And, pretty much that. Let's see. Mogwami in the chat says, most start collecting boxes, they are about 500 points. And I think that a 500-point game, I agree, of AOS is better than a skirmish game, I would think. You know, if it's a matter of... Honestly, skirmish games take just as long as a full-size game. Because it's just more units. So I definitely recommend playing actual AOS versus skirmish. For sure. Let's see, here go the next one. We got one more left. The Captain. A friend of mine is, I think it says redoing, there's a typo here. Redoing his old Bretonnian army in order to use them as flesh eater courts. I think it's a cool idea, but it has sparked some discussion in my gaming group. I'd like to hear your thoughts. Well, the only discussion that matters is your gaming group's discussion. I'll be just flat out and say that. Because nothing I say is going to override them. But if you're asking me my opinion, like if Jack came to me and said, like, hey, Doug, I want to play Flesh Eater Courts, but all I have is this Bretonnian army. The first thing I would say is that Bill Clinton wants his models back from 1990s. But the second thing that I would say is that's totally cool. The biggest thing with those kinds of, where it's not a conversion, it's a full-blown proxy. I find the biggest thing is just making sure your opponent knows what each model represents. And I think if he goes really far out of his way to make sure that's abundantly clear, then you shouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't give any guff. I shouldn't say you wouldn't have any problems because your gaming group is your own, and if they set the standard that you need to have the actual models or maybe a closer equivalent than that they would like, my opinion doesn't supersede theirs. That's who you play games with. But that's definitely my thing as far as, like, it just has to be very clear to your opponent exactly what unit is what, so they are not tripped up making tactical decisions because you decided to proxy something. But I think, on the whole, I think it's a cool idea. I mean, people have been doing the whole, like, oh, they're actually Bretonnians things for forever, and that's cool. I mean, I wasn't around fantasy long enough to, like, gain enough of an appreciation for Bretonnians to, like, really be invested in that joke. But, some people love them. That's cool. You do you. Especially if he already has a whole army of them. Like, if he already has armies and just wants to play with people, why not? Just let him play. I don't think anything about it's going to be, like, super powerhousey, And if he's like most Bretonnian players who put so much freaking work in their army, it's going to look stunning no matter what. What does everyone in the chat think? What would you think about that? I mean, if you're just taking it to your local gaming group, that's cool. If you're rocking to, like, Adepticon or something like that, that's different. So, yeah. Where there's an event and a TO and there's standards that are outside of your gaming group for proxies and that kind of stuff. Like, that's where you got to check with other people in an aggressive way. But, I don't know. My goodness, these feet are so small. Basing these things is actually a lot harder than I thought it would be. Just such a tiny surface area. And that is actually all the questions that I have. M41 stream says need to have lists with pictures to prevent confusion during a match. What unit is what? Yeah, I guess my initial thought was like make tokens that say like Crypt Horrors, and you put those next to the knights or something. You know, however you're divvying up your units. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Like there should be some requirement for that. And I shouldn't say requirement, because requirement makes it seem like everyone's being a rules Nazi. If you are the Bretonnian player in this scenario, you should want to make sure your opponent has a great time and isn't stressed out by your conversions or proxies. So I feel like the onus is on him at that point. But that comes from me, who like when I think about playing games, I consider my opponent much more than myself. You know, like I want people to have a good time to the detriment of myself, and so I would do that kind of stuff. I guess it's not really to your detriment, obviously, but I mean like to the being super clear about what something is to a point where they would probably know what I was guessing to do strategy wise. Yeah. Okay, we're getting there. Okay. I got what, 3 dudes left? 2 dudes after this guy. Okay. So, while I'm just sitting here chatting, I started a Warhammer Total War game by myself last night. And I was like, you know what? I do want to learn how to use Skaven. And so I was looking at different ways people play Skaven online, and someone suggested that the Craven Tail or Clan Rictus for Total War 2 is a great way to start. Skaven, because he starts off with a pretty good army. And I tried it out. Holy smokes, man. That is so much stinking fun. It had me, like, seriously considering a Skaven army today as I was looking up, like, oh man, how much is a Doom Wheel? Doom Wheel's amazing. Like, oh, it drove me nuts. I loved it. Let's see here. Kung Fu 22 over on Twitch says games are better with people enjoying themselves. One of the best games I've ever played. I got beat so hard I was literally cheering to fail my armor saves by the end of it. That's awesome. I think so I've had 2 games that stand out as being like my best AOS moments because they were so you know, I had so much fun equally with my opponent as I did on the battlefield. So one of them, you can actually watch it. It's on Rerolling Ones. It's the Path to Glory game, where it's sorry, got distracted. My Slaves to Darkness versus Jack's Khorne, and he basically had a monolith or something like that he was trying to build, and I was trying to tear it down. And it came down to the wire about 3 turns in a row. It was one of those things that's like, if I roll a 4 up, I win. And I just could not roll that 4 up. And like 3 turns went by and I just could not roll that freaking 4 up. And at the same time, if Jack got over to me and killed my hero, I would have no chance of winning. But he, through just the way the game played out, could not get to me. And so it was this huge waiting game. I won't spoil it if you want to go watch it, but it was super tense. And one of those games that it had us all laughing so stinking hard, and about how everyone was just failing, but all failing together in the most beautiful way. Yeah, no, it was a lot of laughing, a lot of cheering. I don't know if that's when Jack's Slaughter Priest Cordell the Unlucky got his name, but it was definitely during that campaign. I can tell you that, I believe. But he was unlucky that game. Let's see. So when I get this done, all I need to do is do some dry brushing to make the bases pop a little bit, the texture pop, and then go around and do a black rim around all of them just to make them stand out a little bit. Sweet. That is it. So with that, we have built 10 Arcanauts. We have based my 500 points for the, armies like that. So that's kind of cool. Doc Bravo just came across your channel and love the lore. I'm a man wishing you continued success here on YouTube and the tabletop. Thank you so much. Very kind of you to say. Stay buckled in. Because next week is gonna be Skaven week, and I think you're gonna like it. I think it's gonna be fun. I dove into it headlong today, and I just had a good time with it. It was a lot of fun. I kind of wish, and I'll spoil it a little bit here. I wish there was more about the Great Horned Rat, but they make him really cool, and I can't ask for a whole lot. So I am pretty pumped about that. Let's see. Trying to think. I'm trying to gauge how much so whenever you use texture paints, you blob it on there, and then as it dries, it kind of contracts a little bit. So there are parts of the base, like this guy's gonna be a problem, where like it contracts so much that you can see like the actual base of the model, like the actual black, base. So that's something to keep an eye on. Yeah. Let's see here. Unstable Child just started doing Dispossessed, waited for the Hammerers to come in stock. Now the Quarrelers are out of stock. That's always how it goes. I've been thinking about getting Hammers because they do fit the general aesthetic of the KO. Enough so, I think, for sure. And so I think that'd be pretty stinking cool. I need to stop making lore videos because I keep getting distracted by other armies. I'm like, you know what? I could pause the KO and build some Storm Fiends. Like, no. Be good. I'm already being really good by not selling or trading off the Beasts of Chaos. That's my MO. Like, at this point, in any other army, they would already be gone. Still haven't played them in quite a while, but, yeah. Jack asked if I want to play Total War or Vermintide. I'm going to have to pause here at some point and cook dinner for my wife. We start and eat really, really late in the day, so probably not much gaming for me tonight, but certainly get back into it first thing. Captain Angie says, hey, you live? Yeah, dude. Total War spoiler. Great Horned Rat is in the Vortex campaign. That's cool. Is the Grail from the Flesh Eater Courts and the spell actually the Grail from the Bretonnians we're looking for? They have a lot of names that do callbacks to the old stuff, but I haven't read the book yet to know if it's like supposed to be this specific thing. So yeah, variety is the spice of life and or wargaming. Yeah, dude. I'm excited for these guys. I'm excited to get them on the table. I want to see them in action. I want to see the Arcanauts, their pistols, two-shot seats, these guys with their big old super rifles, and I don't know. It just looks so stinking cool, you know? That's why I'm not even like a dedicated KO player. Like, I have no commitments to this army. Like, you know what I mean? If I ever wanted to clear it out, I feel nothing bad about getting rid of them. But I'm looking at them like, these models are so incredibly cool. I want them to do so well. And I don't know. I don't get that. I don't get that feeling a whole lot from many armies. You know, I think if I ever played, what are they? Ogres. I've considered playing ogres every once in a while, where I'm just like, man, these guys are so stinking cool. They're big enough to do like tattoos and junk on, but yeah, I've never made the plunge. Never took the plunge. It sounds like my next army is going to be Stormcast with stealing Jack's Vanguard chamber. It's always dangerous when I do this and my friends are in the chat because they're just like, hey, I got this for you. So, yeah. Let's see. If Grunstock Thunders could all have the same special weapons, I'd take them as allies. Yeah, they used to be able to, and then that got nixed, which I don't know. I understand why they do it because they want to be able to sell the kits and only stuff in the kits. I just don't think it was that smart of a choice because it just limited their options even further. But that's my thought. So yeah, I'm just kind of waiting for stuff to dry. This is typically when my streams kind of die out, when I'm just like sitting around waiting for crap to dry. So you got the basing all on these dudes, the glue on them. I guess I could build the other thunders. Let's do that. I'm just gonna push all these guys back a smidge. Oopa. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. I've been cranking 40 new monks before this weekend's event at Richmond, Virginia. I have terrain, endless spells, and catapults left. That's awesome. If I was going to ever do Skaven, right, and I just had an infinite budget to do, like, hey, Doug, do whatever Skaven army you want to do, it would be Clan Molder, for sure. I would just do a ton of Rat Ogres, lots of conversions, because that, I don't know, just the aesthetic of, like, the Flesh Crafter thing. I love it in 40k with Dark Eldar. I love it in AOS with Clan Molder. Like, there's just something so macabre about it, and I'm just like, yeah, I like that stuff. Ooh, dropped a whole bunch of stuff. I was at one point building objectives, and this is actually partially why it's taken me so long to make new battle reports. I want to use the GW, what are they called? This is the objective markers, where you have like the treasure chests and the axe in the head someone could be seeking as a magic weapon, that kind of stuff. You know, MacGuffins. I could have just a whole bunch of MacGuffins ready to go. Let's see here. KO need a new tome and their terrain piece. Just a shame they won't be able to get endless spells. Well, I mean, Khorne hates magic, and he's getting some variant of endless spell type thing. So, you know, if he gets it, I don't know why anyone else wouldn't. Maybe we can get like endless runes or some junk. Let's see. Is what made them good. More importantly, easier to use. Now you have to spend half an hour fiddling around with the weapon selections. Talking about the weapon variations on the Thunders. Yeah, so the thing is that it's not just that the Thunders can't all take the same weapon. It's that all the weapons they can take lead into each other, so you have to do them in a super annoyingly specific order. Like, this guy has the Deck Sweeper, and if he hits something, then it makes the, I don't know, Ethermatic, I don't know, other gun better. And then if that thing hits, then it makes like the flamethrower better, and all this crap. They all synergize as a weapon to weapon individually, and it's so annoying because you just end up standing there rolling dice. You're doing like 6 rounds of dice rolling for the same unit to do very little. I don't know, it's just a bummer. So that's why so these 5 that I have already built, the Thunders, they actually all have the same base weapon, like that super generic rifle, and I might actually do that for the other ones and have them be one big unit of 10 just to go up there and just mega shoot something. Have the chemist buff that weapon profile. Boom, done. Let's see here. I was all pumped to play play Skaven during the end times. Built 120 slaves. But then you put them in your closet ever since. Dude, bust them out. How's the time? Absolutely, dude. Okay, let's see what else. Here's the Thunderous box. Trying to pull that away from the camera so it's not grinding in your ears. I could tell that the last owner was really struggling to pick weapons, because for these and the Arcanauts, they were all just like headless, armless. Let's see. I've got big projectitis as the problem. That's funny. Man, what do we got here? Yeah, I'm kind of feeling the basic rifle again. Okay, I might just do that. Good, look at these. Look how cool all these weapons are, but they're annoying. I don't want to have to deal with that. I just want one profile. Just want all of the ether shot rifles. Yeah, because the basic rifle is 2 shots. That's awesome. 3 up, 4 up, -1 damage 1. That's cool. With the ether chemist, that could be 3 shots each. Let's see here. These 25 unpainted Blight Kings are looking at me disapprovingly. Yeah, man. I tell you what, it is one of the hardest things to resist that Magakin army, because that Star Collecting box is amazing. And actually, when the new Magakin came out, I had my Slaves of Darkness, and I was like, oh, maybe I should just dive into Magakin, because I could just use them and then build up that force as I went. But then I was like, I don't want to spend that much money on those big old fly dudes. And now I'm looking at that Star Collecting box and be like, that barrier to entry is gone. Like, they are an incredible value, even if it comes out at $95, which it probably will, American. I don't know. It's stellar. Unstable shot, you can take all ether shot rifles. Yes, that's what I did here. So my debate was, do I just do that same thing again for the second unit of 5 that I own? Answer is probably. I do have another 5 in a box somewhere that they're totally unbuilt. So if I do feel the need later to do the mix, the full gamut of weapons, I could do that. So I'm just going to do ether shot rifles on this. Let's just do that. Okay. Slaves are easy to paint. Too bad they don't sell Mornfang Brown primer spray anymore. Oh yeah, I forgot they got rid of that one. Do I have the KO Start Collecting box? Yes, I do. I have one of them. So the lots, I bought 2 used lots at super affordable prices, because people just wanted to get rid of them for a few extra bucks for their hobby funds. One of them came with 2 frigates, a Start Collecting box, and 2 units of Arcanauts. And that would be this unit of Arcanauts and one that's still in well, actually, no, it's the one that I painted. So those 20 Arcanaut company. And I'm trying to remember. I don't remember where I got this engine rigger unit from. Anyway, the second lot was these 20 Arcanaut company, 5 Thunders, another 5 Thunders. Basically, had 2 Star Collecting boxes and 2 units of Arcanaut. So they did mesh well together, because one had frigates, the other one didn't. Lots of Arcanaut company, which I need for my battle line. Lots of weapon options. Got a chemist out of it. I had all the stuff I needed. In the end, I ended up with 6 engine riggers. Yeah, no, I mean, it came together. It was a really good start to the army, for sure. And I'm not gonna lie, just after painting them, I'm having so much more fun with the KO than I am with my Beast of Chaos. Like, I can't even imagine picking up a Beastman right now. I'm having such a blast. So, first rank fire, second rank fire dwarves. Yep. It's a shame. If I could take them all with deck sweepers, I'd take a Kharadron armor and have them jump out and almost drive-by shoot chap off the table. Yeah, that'd be sweet. Oh, thank you so much for following me over on Twitch. It means a lot to me. Yeah, no, that would... The thing is that the weapon profiles... We'll take a look at it. The weapon profiles for the other ones are so varied that if you took an entire unit of any of them, they'd all be awesome. What do you got? So the basic rifle is 2 shots, 3 up, 4 up. Awesome. It's a good, solid baseline shot. The Fumigator, which is fun, is a 9-inch weapon, D3 attacks each, 3 up, 2 up, -1. I mean, that's the thing where if you poop your dudes straight in front of the enemy, right? You have to be outside 9 inches, but you can move afterwards. So you get off the ship, just go forward, just blast them right there. Deck sweeper, D6 shots, 4 up, 4 up. Yeah, dude. Because if you do that, you'd be, what, 5d6? Average of 3 each. So is that 15? 4 up goes down to 7. 4 up goes down to like 3.5 go through. Yeah, I mean, it's not broken. Like, certainly not. Especially because it's all on a spectrum, right? They're all d6 each. Ether Cannon. 4 up, 2 up, -2, d3. That's going to be your heavy hitter for sure. And then a mortar, which I remember is the one that kind of broke the game because everyone was taking a whole bunch of mortars. I think the biggest thing there is a 36-inch range. 4 up, 3 up, and d3 damage. So, yeah. I don't know. Let's see. You know what? Before I jump into these, I am actually probably going to go hop off here and make some dinner for my lovely, lovely wife. But before I do, for all you folks who are listening, I do want to say, because Jack pitched it to me and told me he has so much Stormcast stuff, that's probably going to be my next project, to be honest with you, Stormcast. But my vision, and I want to hear some feedback on this before I log off. My vision is to do an Astral Templars themed army that focuses on the Vanguard Chamber specifically. That's what I'm excited about. I love the aggressive, the speed, the shooting. I love the hunters are awesome. And the way I want to do it is I want to get a whole bunch of the heads from the Forge World set. I want to do a review of them and just show them off and see what people think from that. So anyway, I'm going to leave it open. Tell me your thoughts on that. I love the idea of the Paladors. They look incredible. They're the exact opposite of what I thought of Stormcast when they first came out. Where like the first wave of Stormcast stuff, I was like, oh, these are all static. These are all boring. It's just Liberator shields up. And they look cool. I reversed my opinion on that. I think they have more life now. But then when the Paladors came out and they're like in full motion with the spears going forward, I'm like, oh, these guys are sweet. Love it. Captain Andrew, yes. Teleporting shenanigans of raptors are fun. Sweet. That's awesome. One of the things that Jack does is like teleports his raptors around, I think, with like his Lord Palador can like take a Vanguard unit with him. And I think that was pretty cool. What is that thing? What's that? Let's see here. Honor Bearer. You can reroll battle shock test with an Honor Bearer. Okay, so that needs to happen. You'd have the Honor Bearer there. So anyway, that's my vision for a Stormcast army, but I think it'd be really, really cool. Have you read more of Black Pyramid yet? The Vanguard are such characterful. Yeah, I'm reading it right now. It's slow because it takes forever for me to read books because I'm one of those people like I can't read and do anything else. So there's very few times where I can just shut everything off and read, which is why I need to get into audiobooks more. But I'm working on it and I enjoy it. The opening scene has a guy riding a Palador and he is a one-man wrecking crew going through Beastmen. And I was like, yes, this is everything I like on both sides. So yeah. Long strikes are better than a hurricane. That's awesome. But anyway, so those are my thoughts. They don't have the sheer melee power of other Stormcast things, but I think they offer a lot in terms of mobility and playing objectives and shooting and that kind of stuff. So I think that it would be pretty fun. And also there's a lot of people who talk about Vanguard stuff. I hear a lot of people asking about it, and they have a killer Start Collecting box, but I just don't see people playing it a ton, which is a bummer. So anyway, friends, I'm going to go ahead and sign off here. Thank you so much for joining me. What I can say is join me on Friday night. I'm going to put a message out as I try to get a more regular streaming schedule. Basically, I need to do one more stream with at least 3 people on Twitch to unlock that stuff, like in this 30-day window. So join me over there on Friday night. It'll be on YouTube as well. Nothing is withheld from YouTube watchers. So on Friday night, we'll be hanging out, doing some more stuff. Might be playing a game, might be doing some more building. I'm not quite sure, haven't decided yet. We'll see how the mood hits me. So anyway, I'll talk to you all very, very soon. Thank you so much for watching, and happy wargaming.